This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The president of the Matatu Owners Association. Good morning.
Morning.
David Njoroge Kiarie is the chairman, Road Safety Association of Kenya, also joining us this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Karibu sana to both of you. And as we get into our conversation this morning, Dennis is going to welcome you with today's proverb. We would like to get your interpretation of that.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
and our proverb today comes from Botswana, part of the countries in the SADC region, South Africa. And one thing that stands about them is the Bushmen. And as I was just looking up these Bushmen, I remember seeing a video of how a white man gave one of them a soda and they could not handle it because it is too sugary, because what are they used to? They're hunters and gatherers, and all they eat is natural fruits, natural sugars from fruits, and soda for them does not cut it out. But let's go to the proverb. You cannot chase two antelopes at once. You cannot chase two antelopes at once. How would you interpret that, Dave?
Thank you very much. You cannot chase two antelope at once. Yes. That is a fact. Even in our saying, you cannot, if you are aiming on something, you must aim one. You cannot try to get both sides. In our culture, Kikuyu, we say a hyena had to die because it wanted meat on this side and the other on the other side. So it is you pursue one side. Thank you.
How would you interpret it?
I will still interpret the same whereby as you are hunting, you cannot hunt two animals at once. So you have to follow one so that you can be able to achieve.
Yes. All right. Let me give you some headlines that came out the last couple of days. And unfortunately, some of the things that we hear and see. Along the Narok-Maimahiu Highway, an accident involving a coach bus from Nairobi to Migori and other vehicles, several feared dead, with many injured, rushed to the Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. 35 people killed in 3 separate road accidents in the last 24 hours, 26 in Kisumu, 8 in Kajiado, and 1 in Kilimani in Machakos. This was all on the same day. And this is just this weekend, 3 days ago. We're not counting what happened on the Sunday itself in terms of that accident. Transit-related activities, 72 hours of wreckage is what it was being called. Naivasha bus train collision killed 9. Muihoko air tragedy the weekend before killed 6. Kilimani killed 1. And unfortunately, the numbers and the pictures that we are seeing, absolutely horrifying in terms of what has been happening. And these are road accidents, save for the one in Muihoko, which was, an air accident. But the rest of these are road accidents. Yeah. They're happening between private and public service vehicles. Yeah. And people are being injured in scores. Yeah. But more worrying than that is that people are dying that shouldn't have, that didn't need to. Yeah. There are hit-and-run accidents. There are full head-on collision accidents. There are drunk driving accidents. Yeah. Going to church last Sunday, I personally witnessed 3. Now, when we want to ask the question in terms of what is happening on our roads, perhaps we can find the answers, and perhaps it can be a call to public to say, guys, we need to be careful. But then also, on the other hand, who are the actors in these conversations that we're having today? So these are the questions that we're asking. We want to thank both of you for being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
Let's start off with a question around really generally what is happening on our roads and how can we say we need to be a little bit more safe. Let's start off with you, Mr. Kiarie, and ask what's going on? What are we seeing from a road safety point of view? Are our roads safe?
I would like to say our roads are not safe. And whatever is happening, the government is aware. So it's not something which is just coming from nowhere, because as road safety experts, we had told them that in 2 years' time to come, these things will start happening. And now it is happening. Because with road safety, it is about the laws to be followed properly and the actors to act the way it's supposed to be acted. For instance, I give an example. I was here another time, and I said that people are getting driving licenses while they have not been trained. You can just get a license with 6,000, call, you get it. So we have so many drivers on our roads who don't know how to drive. And this is why you see nowadays we don't talk of matatus, PSV, causing accident. We are talking of personal vehicles. They are causing more accidents. And even most of these accidents you'll see it is a lorry, it is a personal car. Why? Second, I reported here, when I was here, I said, these vehicles, the lorries don't go for inspection. You pay 6,000 and your lorry is inspected. Money inspect your vehicle when it is at home. So what do you expect? These things are happening and we can see them happening. Business is being done by the actors. So instead of saving lives, we are talking of business, even in NTSA itself. We have reported this. There is a lot of money. By that time I was here, I was talking of 1.2 million vehicles which had not been inspected for 2 years. And every vehicle, we were talking of 6,000. That is 7.2 billion, which is going to people's pockets every year. And when such things happen, and then we start saying accidents are happening, the government is aware. They know exactly what is happening.
We've just come off the other hour talking about corruption and the billions in figures. Nowadays we've stopped talking about millions. The figures are in billions.
Yeah.
And we are having a different conversation about road accidents. And we are starting off with corruption right from the get-go.
Yes.
1.2 million vehicles, 6,000. You're saying that these owners of these lorries don't need to go for inspection, although it's a requirement.
No.
They only need to make a phone call.
Yeah.
Wewe ni aje? Kuna kalori kangu hapa kamchanga na kokoto, nifanyie hiyo maneno.
Yes.
Then you send the 6,000
Yes.
to these persons.
Yes.
And then you just get it from the comfort of your home.
Yes. That is exactly what is happening. I reported that, and then I was followed by police and everything, so I decided to keep quiet. I used BBC came, and you remember the report which was made by the BBC. They themselves took a vehicle which was completely unroadworthy. They could not even go with that vehicle at the inspection center. They had to tow the vehicle, and the vehicle was passed. So we are talking of things which we know exactly
The
what
police
is
are following
happening.
you to silence you or what?
Yeah, of course.
Dennis, you'd be surprised, but there's this one time I saw a post on the socials, or someone just posting it on Facebook, how give me 15,000 shillings and I'll give you a license. And I saw someone
A driving license?
A driving license. You pay 15,000 and you get it at the comfort of your home without stepping into a driving school.
How are you going to get on the road to drive if you don't have a license?
I know how it works.
you
You
know-
know how in the estates you get your uncle's or brother's vehicle.
You just drive from
Tufikisha
point
pale
A to
kwa
point
gate,
B. Yeah.
piga corner. Then the next time you gather some confidence kidogo, you
go
go
highway.
use yes. So then you realize if you're going to driving school, there's that whole process.
you can
need to go
already
there
drive.
physically.
You can already drive.
You already know, and most of the vehicles
Yeah.
are automatic in any case.
Yeah.
So there's no
Gas
struggle.
brake, gas
gas brake. Just look forward, look at the side mirrors, then buy your license.
Okay. So we are putting that on the road together with 1.2 million vehicles that have not been inspected. So we put that on the road, and then we also put so this 1.2 million shillings includes PSVs as well. These are just private vehicles.
Not private.
Okay.
These are lorries, these heavy trucks you see.
Only those ones.
And the school buses, all those.
Okay.
Without even mentioning about PSV vehicles. Yeah.
Okay. So then, Mr. Karakacha, when we are talking about add PSVs, add private vehicles where we have add all of that, over the weekend we see, unfortunately, the highest cases of these road accidents. From your point of view, what would be the problem as to why we are seeing this? Because it rises at some times during the year, whether you want to be, superstitious or not, at some point during the year, we see these numbers rising. What would be the reasoning for this from your point of view?
Okay, the reason I think we can talk about corruption, what he's talking about, because when we come to the issue of safety, the police are supposed to be there on a daily basis to make sure that the people are adhering to the rules in terms of road safety. But you get, because of that bribe, they will just collect money. They don't care. And then when the accident occurs is when the government comes in very fast, which they should not do that, because they need to be there always. But what we are saying as an association, that we are supposed to control the leadership of the matatu industry all over the country, but you get there is a lot of interference in terms of politicians, whereby they give kidogo to those boys who are the termini, and you get that majority of our drivers, we do not have a training school for the drivers. So you'll get that problem will still occur.
What would occur in this situation whereby along the Narok-Maimahiu highway, after involving, in an accident involving a coach bus and other vehicles, what would be the issue here that will be directly linked to corruption or directly linked to lack of inspection or somebody buying a license, for example, where we are seeing that scores of people were injured and scores of people feared dead? What would be the reason causing that? Overlapping, over speeding? I can explain that in a very simple term. For you to be allowed to drive a PSV vehicle, is your license must have stayed for 5 years. Just that. So if I receive a license today and I put it on the in my box, and after 5 years, then I'm qualified to drive a matatu. That is the qualifications to become a driver in this country. And now, the driver who's driving that vehicle, which training did he go to? Because if you go to most countries, drivers are trained by the government, and particularly a driver to carry passengers. We should be having a driving test by the government, not by private entities today, because that is exactly what is happening today. Even if you go to Rwanda today, you can go to any school, but at the end of the day, you will enter you will pass the government test. The government testing, whereby you are trained how to handle that vehicle. That is even defective driving. If anything happen, how you can save lives. But here we don't have such a thing. Second, even these drivers who are driving, you have received your license today. In some times to come, you might get some problems, health problem, your eyes maybe, or other diseases. We don't check PSV drivers. And if a disease kama ile ya kifafa ikikupata, then what will you do? You will kill all those people. Because a PSV driver should be properly tested yearly and make sure that even his eyesight are perfect, because you are carrying people. Just the way a pilot cannot take an airplane every year, they go for medical tests. Why are we not doing that to our own drivers? Is it expensive to the government just to test them and to make sure that that driver who is driving a PSV vehicle, he's perfect? So all these small, you call small things, accidents don't occur because of big things the way you think. It is just a small mistake, then everything goes bad. Human error or mechanical issue? It might be human error or mechanical error. If, for instance, a vehicle has not gone for inspection, we had a lorry which killed 24 in Kisumu Road. And what happened? It just hit a small pothole. And everything, the tie rods, everything went off. So it went killing people on the other side of the road. Why? Because that vehicle had not gone for inspection. What is the purpose of a vehicle going for inspection? There are major things which are properly checked. That is the brake system and the steering system. All of that. Is everything else in standard? If it is a matatu, is that safety belt? Is it of the standard? Go to them today. Those safety belts are killing people when an accident happens, because they are getting these safety belts in Gekomba and in Karibangi. They are being done there. That safety belt is not of standard. So the time the accident happened, if this vehicle was going at even a speed of 80, your body is moving at the same speed of 80. So that belt will get into your skin, into your body, and kill you. Because
I have a question. Because David has talked about standards. You look at these accidents, and the one common thing that you will notice, but I don't know whether it's just me, you look at a bus or even a matatu involved in an accident, apart from how it's mangled, more often than not, what you will see in terms of the structure, half of it is gone, the rest is intact. And a lot of times it's not even hard impact. But you will look at the structure of the bus, and I'm going to read, this is just a small abstract from a paper that was done from the University of Nairobi by somebody who was looking into this, where they're talking about how transit buses and matatus essentially are a fundamental aspect of most travelers in Kenya. All right? So, the thing is, although buses and matatus are one of the safest means of transport, according to this paper, occupant injuries and fatalities in bus crashes do occur. Hence, rollover strength is an important aspect for the industry partakers. Now, what they're looking at is determining the crash worthiness of the buses and matatu superstructure here in our country. And the paper continues and says, the standards laid out by the Kenya Bureau of Standards do not have provisions for testing bus frames, only specifying the materials and workmanship to be used in fabrication. Now, here lies the question. When it comes to, and we've seen Izinganya, where they're painted, graffiti and all that. You look at the structure of this matatu and how it's on the roads. And you're thinking, if this matatu, the way it looks very beautiful with the graffiti, if it crashes, the frames, how do we even test the crash worthiness of these frames? Because they look very, very weak. And in the event of an accident, then therefore we see from the frames in the accidents, the upper part is gone. It's only the lower part that's held by the axles that's left. How do we do this?
I think 2 years ago, we had a regulation which came up whereby we should have what we call unroll bar. Before the vehicle comes out, it should have those unroll bar. But
what is that again?
Unroll bar, whereby when they are building the vehicle, they should make sure they fit those unroll bar so that in case of an accident, will not have that roof coming out. But if you go to the people, the bodybuilders, you will get that they are still doing the shoddy jobs because there is no supervision. And maybe that one we need to blame the NTSA and we need to blame the Kenya Bureau of Standards, because wherever the vehicle is being built, they should have some of their supervisors going around to check and make sure that everything is being done according to the standards.
But from what we've seen, sorry, just a quick follow-up. From what we've seen, let's say I have some good cash flow. And from what we've seen on social media, a lot of these matatus, especially the current ones and some buses, you find somebody has a warehouse somewhere. And you find there is a space where you've got these young people fixing music systems, screens and all that. Everything, the fabrication, everything is done in someone's warehouse, in some backyard somewhere. There is there is no specific place where these fabrications are done and are known by government so that somebody then can do inspections. So once the paint work has been done and the matatu is ready to come out, it goes straight into the road. Are there sites or areas where these things then need to be done when that, what you're saying 2 years ago was passed, that in order for you to have these frames, these are the requirements, but these will be the specific areas where these things are accredited to be done?
Okay, we know very well we have the bodybuilders, whereby vehicles are supposed to be built there. But this is Kenya, whereby you'll get, people will decide to do what they want to do. But we need, the government needs to come in to see how to enforce it. We know very well the government has the machinery. If they want to know what is happening, they'll be able to know. So we are saying that the government must enforce the law to make sure that we follow the standards which are supposed to be there.
Karakasha, I have the question, just a follow-up on what Dennis has asked now.
Sure.
Here's a question where there's the regulations that were given 2 years ago that are not being followed. But I'm looking at you as an association that registers matatu owners, right?
Yeah.
And here's a question where one would assume that every matatu that goes on the road has an owner who is your member.
Yeah.
And you as one would say, a body that regulates, say, matatu owners. Do you have a provision that in every matatu that your member puts on the road, you have a department that goes to check if this body, this frame, has met the standards that has been given by the government, so that it's not only a blame to the government, but that you as the Matatu Owner Association are equally playing your part to make sure that that provision is adhered by your members? Do you do that?
Okay, what we can say that through the SACCOs, we have the provision by making sure that the matatu, before it goes to the road, the officials must inspect that vehicle to make sure it is worth going to the road. But you get that because of corruption, which is there, you will get kitu kidogo will mess up the whole, whatever is supposed to be done. Because we say that we are supposed to self-regulate our business. Now, it comes that you are trying to self-regulate our business, and you get, there is some interference in terms of policemen, whereby some of the policemen are the ones who own these vehicles. And you try to tell him that we have to make sure that the vehicle is in good condition. And because he's the boss there, he'll make sure that all what is supposed to be done cannot be done.
David, how bad is corruption in this sector?
Let me see. I was a part of the technical team in KEBS who came up with this standard of the bodybuilder, of putting those roll bars. I was part of the team. And I think we did that because we realized that most matatus are built on a lorry chassis. And a lorry chassis, all the time, if even it is a corner, that vehicle will go down because a lorry chassis is a bit higher than the bus chassis. But you see, even today, and this standard is there, we have vehicles which are coming with lorry chassis, which is very dangerous in the first place. And when we did this, we realized that for telling the matatu people to go and inspect, they can't. They are not experts. So we gave that work to NTSA to ensure that before they license a vehicle to be a PSV vehicle, there must be a body professional, which we have so many of them, whereby if you're the one who has done the body, then there's another body comes and inspect that vehicle. It is not happening today, because I think even there was a case in court whereby one of those people who are supposed to inspect are not given an opportunity, because the owners of these vehicles, after they know, you have to pay some fees for that vehicle to be inspected. So they employ their own people to inspect their own vehicles. That will never work. So what we are saying, and this is for sure, one, we have to go direct to where our main problem is. It is NTSA is our major problem. NTSA has failed in everything, because even that standard, that work is also given to NTSA. The mandate by Parliament, the Act, gave NTSA all these mandate, and NTSA is not following what's supposed to do. So
a report's done. Let me ask. So an accident happens. 21 people are killed.
Yeah.
That is reported.
Yeah.
Then eyewitness reports will say the driver alionekana aki swerve, aki overlap, aki speed, whatever. But then professionally, a report needs to be done beyond what has happened in the accident. So you've lost lives, there are injuries. But do we have reports where we then go back and look at if it's an issue of speeding, then look at the impact of the accident, look at the number of people who have been killed and injured, the type of injuries, people have been thrown off, the roof is out, the frame. The frame question. Do we have measures where we look at accidents? Because I'm reading a report here, and this report actually indicates that a lot of these accidents, especially from buses, I'm just reading here, buses that operate from county to county, long distance buses. And I'm looking at a majority of the accidents that we're having is purely these type of buses. Do we stop to think why? Apart from the driver getting is tired, but after the accident, you look at the wreck and you say, this bus with this kind of impact shouldn't look like this. There's another bigger problem.
Let me tell you, the reason cabs came up with this standard is a Tulele bus, which killed everybody. And the bus was like, it was like,
Remember?
Yeah, it rolled and everybody, there was nothing even you could have collected there. So that is what made us come up with this standard. What we are saying, it is not yet followed. In fact, even you see the seat you sit on, the bolt which hold that seat should go straight to the chassis. But you see, it must be a very long, it's very expensive to put that. But these people, the bodybuilders, want to spend very little money. Sure. So if that bus, it is even at 100 speed, those seats, you will find people with their seats outside with their safety belt died on the road because they will move out. But if those seats from the chases, that seat cannot move. So what we are saying is this: somebody has failed in his job, because we are talking of 2 years. So we should not be seeing these things. Also, this is why I'm blaming NTSA. It's not that I hate them, but I was one of the people who were fighting to make sure that we have an NTSA, a body, an authority to check on these roads. But the NTSA now has failed us. One, it is their responsibility to make sure every accident, they do a proper audit. What caused this accident? What was the cause of this accident? So that we can avoid another accident happening the same. So these audits are never done. They will just give stories that the accident killed 15 people, it was the driver's mistake, and the story is over. But we should follow deep into details. Who was this driver? What made him make this mistake? Was it the vehicle? Was it the problem of the vehicle? When we can have proper audit, and that is why we wanted NTSA formed. But they have failed us.
So we're saying, if you look at, there's a similar thread here that I see weaving through all of this, that there are standards that are supposed to be met. But what did you say? The bolt that's supposed to connect the chair is supposed to go to the chassis is expensive.
Yes.
There's supposed to be a license that's supposed to be acquired, but it is what?
Expensive.
There is supposed to be checking regularly every year inspection that's supposed to be done, but there is a cost
It's
to
expensive.
the owner. So it is what? It is expensive.
Yeah.
The expense and the burden of this expense seems to outweigh the value and protection of human life.
Yes.
So for me, it goes beyond this money that people want to spend, and it goes to the regard for the vehicle and the money in our pocket that we don't want to spend in order to ensure safety, but the regard for human life and its protection doesn't even feature. Talk less of throwing it out of the window. It doesn't come up. Is that the case? We don't really care about the vehicles and the people that we carry in them to ensure that they're all right, or even if we're driving alone in the vehicle, we're not really thinking about the life. We're just thinking about the brick at what I need to do to get where I'm going, and the money that I'm going to earn from it, and the money that I don't have to spend. So have we lost it?
To be sure, as you're saying, we've lost it because everybody is thinking about money. And I repeat again, and I keep on repeating, we think about what am I going to make? What money am I making? What am I going to save? And road safety, you cannot compare saving money to road safety because it is about life.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, what we can say, he's talking about the road safety, whereby within our business, we are in business to make money, but we are not in business to kill people on our roads. And what we are saying, what is making everything go haywire is about the corruption we are having. And we need to empower the owners in a good way, because you see, when it comes to the issue of the safety, like last year, association took over the road safety campaign the whole country, which we did it. And if you compare last year and this year, the accident has become high compared to last year. If you check 2016, we were working very closely with the NTSA, and I remember they invited us, we sat down with them, and we had a committee whereby we were going the whole country to see how we can help in terms of the road safety. I think we reduced the accident by 300 people that year. If you try to check the statistics, you'll see it. So what we are saying is, inclusion, we need to work as a team, whereby you get in NTSA, it becomes a problem when it comes to, can we come together to see how we can work as a team? The new minister, if you compare with the old minister, Mr. Murkomen could call us, but the new minister, it's very hard to reach to him. So what we are appealing to the government, they need to listen. And we should not be, when there is an accident, is when we are coming up trying to say there is an accident. We need to come up with a way of having a continuous road safety campaign throughout the year.
Karkasha, away from the need to call the government to listen in, to have these discussions, I want to look at you as the Matatu Owners Association. You know, in Nairobi today, if, say, you're leaving Nairobi town, CBD, you're going to Rongai. If you want to get there fast, you take the Nganyas. Why? The Nganyas, because they can always overlap and do all manner of nonsense on the road for you to get to the destination. And you look at any other Nganya on the road, and that is what they do. And these are your members, which brings me back to the question. When you hear these things, because every Nairobi resident knows these things do happen, you know it does happen. What is your responsibility in sitting down with your members to have a discussion with them?
Okay, when it comes to the issue of Nganya, you know what is happening. And through the first family, you've seen the son there is the one who is trying to support the issue of Nganya.
Is he your member?
He is not our member. Okay. And to us, we are saying, I think the government needs to do something on it, because you get even those vehicles that does not have number plate. They don't adhere to NTSA rules. And I think we talked to the NTSA, it was last year. There is something which happened, and then after all, you hear the police are complaining. They are being transferred because of what is happening. But what we are trying to do as an association, we are talking to our members. We have a meeting whereby we normally meet every month to see how we can work as a team to make sure that we bring the road carnage down.
What happens to people who flout these rules? On what day was it? What's today? It was Saturday, and I was in traffic behind a 42-seater, the 52, what is it, the Matatu, and there were easily 6 young gentlemen hanging on the side of this thing, and it was driving at breakneck speed, and it was just kept weaving in and out of the thing. The music was blaring. These gentlemen were doing whatever it was they were doing on the side of the vehicle, and I thought to myself, in the instant that one of these individuals will fall off of this thing, he's dead. Dead. The vehicle that was coming in from behind would have crossed with his head clean. And anybody else would have fallen off, would have been an accident, there would have been a pile-up. Any other vehicle that was coming in that direction would have hit him clean. There was death right there. And I thought, oh my God, that's scary. No sooner than had we left that one behind, there was yet another one with these individuals doing the same thing. So that's just one aspect of the accidents that we see. But what happens to individuals? What happens to businesses? Because the Matatu itself and the whole culture is a business. It's the vehicle, it's the individuals. I don't know what they're called, these people who are hanging around on the thing.
Makangas.
Those ones. And there's a squad or something.
Sure.
They do this whole business. This whole business is a circular economy right there as it's moving. But there must be rules that guide. And what happens when these rules are not adhered to? Is there some kind of censure? Is there some kind of behavioral? What happens?
Can I explain?
Because the fact that they, even now, I'm sure if we left this studio and decided to go onto the road just to see, we would see that kind of behavior happening. But we only start shouting and crying when there's an accident. But in the meantime, where the behavior is going on, we don't do anything about it.
I think we have covered so many of these things, but I want to say very clear, that is the reason we had to push the Matatus to have SACCOs. Yes. So that if you see such a vehicle behaving that way, you know that SACCO, you call the SACCO and the registration of the number, then the SACCO will discipline those people. But as you know,
do that?
But let me explain. It was happening and it was very good. Yes. But now because of what he has mentioned here. There are special people in this country who will buy their vehicles. They are not in circles. And now when you see them behaving that way, you will always blame Matatu people that they are behaving this way. But we have them. It has been reported. You know the Nganyas which are doing that. But nobody talks about that, because if you try to talk about that, but when things happen, we go back to the Matatu people. Matatu people are misbehaving on the road. But to be very sincere, if you go to circles, the real circles which are working, you cannot see anybody behaving that way. Because one, the circles are taking care of such things. One, when we talk of corruption, when we mention corruption, I would like to beg the first family, that is our president. In fact, me, I am appealing to him if he can stop interfering with NTSA, because he is the one himself in NTSA. And I will tell you this without fear. When these things will not be happening by this time, because when we realized as the association, we decided to go to the board, because the board is the one, board of directors are the ones who control NTSA. And we went and reported, and we told them we will have so many accidents if we don't do this and this and this. And it is NTSA to do this. Make sure these vehicles are going for inspection. Make sure this is happening. These things is owned by individuals, not by government, and this is NTSA. We reported that. And when we reported that to the board of directors, when they did the investigation, they sent the CEO on a compulsory leave. It was all over every paper. He was sent for a period of 30 days. A compulsory leave for 30 days. And they said he has never gone for leave for the 5 years he had stayed in the office. It was clear to everybody.
Sent on compulsory
for proper investigations to be done about these accidents. Because we had reported. We were pushing for that.
Okay.
And the board saw what we said, there was some sense. So they sent the CEO to a compulsory leave. But 10 days, even before 30 days, a call, and we know it is the president himself who called the board when they were in the board, and they were told to revert that decision immediately.
Why?
Nobody now can tell. This is what I'm telling you. This is the head of state, and he has called. He was returned even before the investigations were done, and the whole board was sacked. So
what's the president's interest in NTSA?
Because there is a lot of business, and I told you again, NTSA does not now do things to do with safety. It is about business. Just the other day, they were changing the Traffic Act without consulting even stakeholders. And they did this because they wanted to own these inspection centers, private inspection centers. In fact, I had to go to court. It was stopped by court. By now, we'll be having so many private inspection centers owned by who is who in this country. Such things like changing a traffic act is something which need proper public participation so that people can. Our problem is simple. It is corruption. Second, the president must stop interfering with NTSA. Let it work. Let everything be done. Let the law be followed. Let even his sons who have these nganyas follow the law. It is as simple as that. But if we keep on sugarcoating these things and we blame the police, you blame NTSA on the other side. Let me tell you, like now when we are talking like this, the CEO in NTSA should be have left the office because his term is coming to an end. He's supposed to be on leave as they are advertised. But it cannot happen because the interest in NTSA is so much, the amount of money which is going through these people. So the fact is that Kenya, if we need to have proper safety on our roads, let the police be left to do their work, politicians to stay aside, let everybody do his work. If it is circles, give them the power to discipline their members.
Let me throw this question to Albert. Yes. Now that you've raised that, how is political interference affecting your work? Because we've been talking about circles. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, so if I want to have a matatu on the road today, I must belong to a circle, correct?
True.
Meaning that I'm operating a certain route and I can't operate elsewhere.
Sure.
So with this interference, because you earlier talked about the president's son, for example, is not part of your association.
Sure.
In this case, how has this affected your operations, and how does political interference in this case come in?
The political interference come in because when people are not adhering to the rules which have been put there with the NTSA, you will get that other people are being affected in terms of, for example, the